Hey, welcome to episode 152. This is a replay of episode 91 called Release. It is about releasing our inhibitions to start doing what we really want to do. And this is a replay because I am in the process of recovering from my surgery that I told you about. So I wanted to have a couple of episodes that I really enjoyed doing and ones that were very popular. So this is one of them. I hope you enjoy it and hope you're doing well. Let the adventure begin with Chris Denker Podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to episode 91. I am your host, Chris Denker, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, that you are taking care of yourself and that you are doing well this week. And oh my gosh, I just realized I said episode 91. I can't believe that, coming up on 100 episodes. And believe me, I have something really special planned for that 100th episode that I'll be talking about in the upcoming weeks. But for now, I want to talk about the word release. That word has been on my mind a lot lately, and I think it started a few days ago when I read a piece by Shanta Grimes. She is one of my favorite writers on Medium.com. She wrote about how she and her family found themselves in debt again after being debt-free. Through her words, I could feel her frustration at being in this situation again, and she had the courage to be transparent about it, but then she went into problem-solving mode. And I love it when someone does this, because this wasn't a woe is me kind of piece. It was a crap, I can't believe this has happened again, but this is what I'm going to do about it kind of piece. She went on to say that she's going to blog every day until they are debt-free once again. And this is like a huge commitment. I mean, this is not something that's going to happen for her and her family over the next few months. It's going to take a few years for her family to get out of debt again. But she has a plan, and she has like different plans. If this happens, then this will happen. And, she's just really done a lot of research on how they can become debt free again. And so this is a huge commitment on her part. So then I started to think about, well, what's holding me back from blogging every day until I'm eligible to retire? And that's a little over 3 years. So I started doing that just recently. But if you want to follow along on my journey, I have a publication on Medium.com by the same name, Let the Adventure Begin. Or you can check it out on my website, christinedenker.com, to, just kind of follow along with my blogging. And I talked about the word that I was coming back to as far as my word for 2024, which is focus. And I talked about that in episode 84, and I'll link that in the show notes. So I was asking myself, what can I do to better focus on blogging each day? And then the word release made its way into my thoughts. Now, I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole with the word release, but I feel like a lot of us hold ourselves back. And I know I've kind of touched on this topic before about what's holding us back from doing some of those things that we want to do. So join me down this rabbit hole of the word release. So it made its way into my thoughts, and it's just kind of been sitting there. And then all of a sudden, the line in the Natasha Bedingfield song Unwritten popped into my head. Release your inhibitions. So then I looked up the lyrics, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, this is what I'm talking about. And, I'm not going to share all of the lyrics, but I wish I could sing it because every time I read the lyrics, the song just pops into my head. But we know that I make a joyful noise, and I'm not really a vocalist, so I'm not going to sing it. But if the instrumental starts popping into your head, you're going to be kind of singing along as I'm going through this. But I also think it's the writer in me. She starts it by saying, I am unwritten, can't read my mind, I'm undefined, I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned. She says, staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. And then later on, she talks about releasing your inhibitions. And I love this. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. And as I'm reading through those lyrics, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. These are the inhibitions that I know I need to release because, that's what's holding me back. I'm holding myself back. So now that you've gone down this rabbit hole with me, thank you very much. I want to share that I wish I had started releasing my inhibitions a lot sooner. But you know what? That would be living in the past with regret, and none of us lives there. I mean, we can have regrets. It's okay to have regrets, but we can't focus and dwell on them because we can't change those. We can just think about, okay, I regret that I didn't do this, or maybe it's I regret doing this. What can I learn from that lesson and take that, then kind of leave it there and move forward with the lesson learned. We live in this moment. So again, what can we do moving forward? All right, so here's some ideas. Number one, put yourself out there. I started a 100-day journey, and I talked about that in episode 88, so I will link that in the show notes. That 100-day journey is about exercise, sleep, nutrition, water consumption, and self-care. And so every 2 weeks, I'm posting progress pictures, and that is, it's very humbling to post pictures of yourself. In fact, on my day one of my good friends said, basically told me that I was, brave and courageous because she's never had the, I don't know if you want to say guts or, just had that courage to post the workout bra and shorts pics of yourself from different angles. And I really feel like a lot of that's because we are our own worst critic. And believe me, though, I was a little nervous to do that, but I'm like, this is my 56-year-old body, and I want to see what I can do to transform myself over the next 100 days. I mean, I have a scar down my belly that from a surgery many years ago, and I still remember that shortly after that surgery, for like the first year or so, I refused to wear a bikini because I was embarrassed by that. And I'm like, no, this is the way my body is. And, if someone else has a problem with it, that's on them, not on me. So I proudly still wear a two-piece. I don't necessarily rock it, but I'm still comfortable wearing it, and I will continue to do so. But, when it comes down to that, it's being able to put ourselves out there. And even though I posted my 15-day pictures and there wasn't a lot of difference, but yet I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of change even after only 2 weeks. So, it's putting ourselves out there in whatever way that is. Maybe it's just trying something new that is something that you've never done before. And it's not that you have to share it with the world like I'm doing with my progress pics or my 100-day journey, but it's just trying just something new to put yourself out there. This one small business owner that I follow, and I've talked about her before. She is from the UK, from London, and her name is Nicole, and she has founded Self-Care Company, which is all about, she started making candles in her own home. And she is definitely one who advocates for mental health. She's talked about her mental health struggles, and she really grew her business to the point that it was overwhelming to her. She had more than 10 employees, and it was running her ragged, and she finally had to pull back the reins and simplify things. And she talked about that difficulty in making some of those really hard decisions, but still putting herself out there to talk about needing to care for ourselves and to make those hard decisions. And so she puts herself out there all the time. And someday, I don't know when that will be, but someday I would love to have her be a guest on the podcast, because she is just a beautiful soul. So I will actually link in the show notes how you can start following her on Instagram, because she is just an amazing young woman. But it's all about putting yourself out there in whatever way you can do that. Number 2, look at each day like a blank slate, because you know what? That's what it is. Each day is a new beginning. And I try to emphasize that to my middle school students. When they come into my classroom, the first thing on the agenda is to take a deep breath. Wherever they come into my room, whatever part of the day that is, when they walk in, I want them to think about our 42 minutes together as a blank slate. That whatever has happened before they came to class doesn't matter now. This is a new beginning. And so each day, look at that day as a new start, because it is. That day hasn't happened before. And we get to put our imprint on it in whatever way we want to on that day. And I think that is just beautiful to think about. Number 3, as far as a way of releasing our inhibitions, is to be silly. Laugh. Let yourself be goofy. And I wish I could remember what song it was, but today during my study hall, I started to sing the lyrics to a song. Okay, like I said, make a joyful noise, but I started singing the lyrics to a song. I kid you not, one of my students picked up the lyrics and finished the next line. And I'm like, yes, this is what we do. You be silly. Every once in a while, on Tuesdays, not every Tuesday, but usually on Tuesdays, I will record myself doing some kind of dance to like 15, 20 seconds of a song, and I'll post it, just because it's like, somebody might need a laugh. And if they just are like, okay, Dinker's going to put herself out there, I'm going to get a laugh for the day, I have done what I needed to do. So allow yourself to be silly. Again, it doesn't have to be something posted on social media unless you want to. I just kind of have fun with it. And it seems like others have fun with me making a fool out of myself, although I really don't look at it as being a fool. I just look at it as a way to enjoy life. So be silly. Let yourself be silly. So that's a way to release some of your inhibitions. Number 4, appreciate the little things. I like to post pictures from my school parking lot. I don't know what it was, but there was one day that I parked and I looked and it was just a gorgeous sunrise. And so a couple of days a week, I will just post a picture of the sunrise, make a comment or two, and then post it on Instagram. This morning, it was not sunny. And I'm like, oh, do I post this? But then I looked at the clouds and it was just such a cool formation that I'm like, yes, still post this, but it's because it's still cool and it's something different. So I appreciated the fact that even though it wasn't a sunrise, that is, had any cool, like really neat colors by any means, the clouds were just in this really unique pattern. So I went ahead and posted it because it allowed me to appreciate something in a different way and appreciating a small thing. The final thing that I want to encourage you to do as far as releasing inhibitions is to let go of negative thoughts. And although comments from others can bother us, we're our own worst critic. And I sometimes, I most of the time have to ask myself, how am I treating myself? How am I talking to myself? Am I using, positive self-talk? Am I, kind of pumping myself up, being motivating, or am I tearing myself down? And I'm just a naturally pretty positive person anyway. But if I feel like I'm dragging, I can kind of switch things up by just having some positive self-talk. Or if a class period during my day doesn't go as planned, maybe we just weren't rocking it. I didn't have as many kids participate. And instead of beating myself up going, man, what could I have done differently? I didn't teach that well, which, there's still some, feedback that I can be reflective on if something didn't go well, to maybe change it throughout the day or change it the next day. But I also can't beat myself up over it, because sometimes the lesson's just not going to go the way that I was hoping that it was going to go. And if I continue down that negative self-talk, then it's not going to get any better. It's just going to continue to spiral. So as soon as, I notice that in myself, I stop and just go, and I might even say to myself, stop, and just do a 180 and think about, okay, what can I do moving forward? So, when we think about releasing, what does that look like to you? What is, when I think about that line from Unwritten, release your inhibitions, what does that word, what kind of things pop into your mind? And like I said, I shared the ones that popped into my mind as far as releasing those inhibitions, trying new things. Again, it's to put yourself out there, look at each day like a blank slate, be silly, appreciate the little things, and let go of negative thoughts. And if you have some additional ideas, I would really enjoy listening to them or hearing them. Feel free to send me a message on Instagram, send me an email at gettoit11@gmail.com, because I would love to share additional ideas in the future. Before I peace out today, I just want to thank you again for listening to the podcast. Whether you stumbled upon it for the first time, you're a longtime listener, or someone shared it with you and you have been listening for a while now, I really appreciate you, and I love the community that we are growing here. If you can find it in your heart to take a couple of minutes to give the podcast a positive rating and a positive review wherever you listen to your podcasts, I would greatly appreciate it, because that's how others will find our community. So until next week, I hope you let your adventure begin. Peace.